Hey friends, it's Miss Russo here, and today I'm going to read a story that will help us understand a little bit of our American history. And it is a beautiful book with beautiful pictures. And I want to warn you that I'm sure you've been watching the news, or maybe you snuck in the room when mommies and daddies and family members were watching, and you saw maybe people holding up signs, and they're called protesters. And so this book is going to share a little story about protesting and why it isn't so important to do so when you believe in something, especially when something is right. And there's a lot of confusing stuff going on in the world today. Grown-ups are very confused as well, but I just want you to learn a little piece of a story that is part of our history. So sit back and relax, and I'm ready to read. It is a beautiful windy day here in California. So all my friends from Florida and Texas, I love you guys so much, and I miss you guys so much, and I hope you really learn something today and really just value one another and celebrate each other today. So today we're going to read Let the Children March. And here you have some little boys and girls marching. And this is because this is when segregation was still going on in America, and they are fighting against segregation, so that way these beautiful black boys and girls can go to the same school as white little boys and girls. So it's crazy to think that we were separated like that in our world and your little minds. You're growing up in a world that you might not understand this or even notice that people were different colors than you. But next time you go to the store, you go to the playground, notice that people are different colors than you, and that means it's a beautiful thing. That means that you can learn something from them that you may have not experienced in your life, or a tradition, or there's so many beautiful things from other cultures that we need to honor versus be scared of because you don't know something. So here we start, Let the Children March. And this book takes place probably when your grandma and grandpas were being born. It's in 1963. So maybe if you're even curious, you can ask your grandma and grandpas or mommy and daddies if they ever remember segregation. Let the children march. And here we have some boys and girls. Start thinking about how they feel. Do you think they're sad or happy? Are they excited? They're doing. And here we have a sign that says white only. What do you think that means? White only. In 1963, Birmingham, Alabama, I couldn't play on the same playground as the white kids. I couldn't go to their schools. I couldn't drink from their water fountains. There were so many things I couldn't do. So that fence divided up where white kids were allowed to go, and maybe somewhere over here there was a sign that said black people only or colored people only, and that is a term we don't use anymore. And here we have mommies and daddies all gathering together. Looks like they're talking about something. One warm spring night, my family went to church. We weren't there to have regular services. We were there to hear Dr. King speak. We were there to plan. Think they're planning a party? What do you think they're planning? There's Dr. King. He wanted to rise an army of peaceful protesters to fight for freedom, his brown eyes flashing fire and love. Dr. King told us the time we had to march. It was time for us to march. So here we have someone from our history. He's no longer with us, he's in heaven. But he's telling everyone to get together, and it's time for us to protest against something that is not right that's going on in the government. They want to keep segregation, so they wanted to keep us divided. If I march, Mama said, I'll lose my job sure enough. I can't march, said Daddy. I got a family to feed. The weight of the world rested on our parents' shoulders, but this burden, this time, did not have to be theirs to bear. So this story, the little boy is telling his story. His mommy and daddy are too scared to protest and fight for what's right because they have to work and feed their families. And right now you're sitting and you're watching on a beautiful TV or on someone's phone, and you're in your cozy house. Well, a mommy or daddy that you live with or a family member you live with have to pay for those things. I don't have a boss to fear, my brother said, or a job to lose. We can march this time. We'll be Dr. King's army, I said. I'll be fine, Daddy, I promise. Don't worry, Mama. So these two brave little boys and girls are going to go march for their mommy and daddy. So then that way, everyone can be equal. And that's something we all should be fighting for. Dr. King didn't like children being put in harm's way. He was a daddy too, after all. But he said that though we were young, we were not too young to want our freedom. Let the children march and let them lead the way. And I want you guys to know that you are the way of our future. So how you treat other people is so important in our world right now. I want you to always stand up to bullies, okay? On May 2nd, a sunny Thursday, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, cousins and friends, we all met at church dressed in our best, feet ready. In a silence so loud that all I could hear was my racing heart, we began to walk. Hand in hand we marched, so frightened, yet certain of what was right for our freedom. The path may be long and troubled, but I'm gonna walk on. The path may be long and troubled, but I'm gonna walk on. That's something I want you to remember even when you grow up. Life is not easy, and I know mommies and daddies and you think life isn't fair, but I promise you when you grow up, everything you're learning right now is for a reason. And when you grow up, you're gonna see that life is not always coloring and playing with your friends. It can get really emotional and really hard, but what God wants you to do is always walk on and keep moving. Okay? Would I be hurt? Would I be heard? Would it all be worth it in the end? I wanted to run from the angry faces in the crowd, run from danger, run from fear. Boys and girls, brothers and sisters, cousins and friends, on and on we marched. We marched, we marched. Singing the songs of freedom, 1,000 strong we came. So here we have, look at these little boys and girls all coming together to protest together. And all they want is to be treated like the white kids. And just because of the color of their skin, they're treated differently. And we are so lucky to live in places that are so diverse and have so many different kinds of people. But this is what you see on the news still today. And this story is taking place in 1963. It's a long time ago. And people are still protesting. Hate dogged my heels all that day, its yellow canine teeth, sharp, but courage walked on by my side and kept me going. Disperse, or you'll be jailed, the police shouted the first day. Disperse, or you'll get wet, the police shouted the second day. Disperse, or we'll release the dogs, the police shouted the third day. We did not disperse. We kept on marching. We wouldn't stop until things started to change. Now this is a really hard picture to look at, but this is what some police officers, not the good ones, there are good police officers out there. You want to always respect your police officers, but when you see someone in danger like this or being treated like this is not okay, friends. And this is why you hear a lot on the news, Black Lives Matter. This is what people are fighting for. It is not okay to treat anybody like this. And you see they have a doggy over here ripping off the pant's leg, and these police officers are over here spraying these little boys and girls with water so strong that it could put out a fire. That is what they're spraying people with. And that's why it's so important right now to think of other people and say, you know what, Black lives do matter. And I know I'm very comfortable, but I need to make sure that my Black friends feel loved and safe. And that's really hard for you to understand when you're little, but I promise you when you grow up, you just need to treat everybody with kindness and respect, and you won't have to live in a world like this, I promise. Hundreds of us went to jail on that first day, and even more on the second. My turn wasn't until the third day. After I was sprayed by water stronger than anything I've ever felt, rough hands pushed me forward, and I fell to my knees. In the police wagon, I was going to jail. Dr. King reassured our parents. "Don't worry about our children," he said. "They're going to be all right. Don't hold them back if they want to go to jail. For they are doing a job not just for themselves, but for all of America and all of mankind." That is right. They were fighting for equal rights and to be treated fairly, and that is for every human being in this earth. God wants you to love everybody, and that's what you're supposed to do. See this woman being pulled away? She was a protester. But in this story, she was just protesting, holding a sign, and these people didn't like that. They didn't want their reality to be, they didn't want their reality to change. They thought it was hurting them if everyone felt equal. That's not true. That night, crowded in a cell too small for even half of the kids, we sang, "We shall overcome, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, and freedom is coming." Our parents couldn't be there with us, but still we sang, wrapped in the proud and loving arms of our ancestors. And when you grow up, you'll learn that Black people used to be slaves, and so they have been fighting for freedom for a long time. And this gentleman right here is not treating her very nicely. And that's why your parents and mommies and daddies want you to grow up to be very aware of the color of your skin, whether you're white or black, brown, yellow, green, whatever color you are, you need to know the differences. And it's okay to be different. But you need to honor each other instead of being scared or thinking someone's better than somebody else because of the color of their skin or where they came from. I was still in jail, but we heard that the next day and the next day more kids marched. The water hoses they used to sting us could not stop our fierce tide. The path may be long and troubled, but I'm gonna walk on. So even though all those kids were put in jail, more kids came to stand up and protest. And what do these kids look like? Do they look peaceful? Do they look sad? Do they look scared? And then if you notice the other side, the people fighting against them, what do they look like? Do they look very nice? Where do you think you would be in this picture? And don't look at color. Look at what they're fighting for. Do you think you'd be angry if other people wanted to be treated nicely? That doesn't make sense. Turn the other cheek, we had been taught. Show love where there is hate. The world watched as hate bruised us, but for 7 days we walked only in love. The jails swelling to burst, to even President Kennedy took notice. Daddy said the police received letters and calls about us from all over the world. Our march would become a memory, a small part of a larger story, but we had been heard, and the seeds of our revolution had been sown. And here we have a white family watching a beautiful black woman being hosed on the TV. Now, if you were sitting there on the couch with your family, how do you think that would make you feel if you saw someone being hurt like that? Would that make you sad? Would that make you happy? Would it make you feel like you need to go out and do something? Or you would want to go and save her or protect her? How does that make you feel? No. 2 days and nights I stayed in the jail. Some stayed even longer. When I left, I was tired and sore, and my best dress was ripped, but my smile was as wide as the Mississippi River. I had made a difference. I'm so proud of you, baby girl, Mama said. Your march was what made them see. With nothing more than our feet, voices, and courage, we had done what others could not. Change was right around the corner. We felt it was like a cool breeze in an Alabama August, and on May 10th, the great news rang out. Dr. King had reached an agreement with the white leaders of the city. Desegregation would begin. And you see this beautiful family right here is hugging because they have worked so hard, and their little daughter and their son were the ones who marched and went to jail and got sprayed with those hoses and were the ones that suffered all this pain just so they could be treated like their friends. They were not slaves anymore, and it's not okay to treat anybody like that. Once you know it's wrong, it's wrong. And so this family feels relief. One month later, I was playing on a playground I'd never been allowed to play on before. 2 months later, my family ate at a diner we'd never been allowed to eat at before. Our march made the difference. We children led the way. Singing the songs of freedom, 1,000 strong we came. And now, like in the beginning of the story, it said white only. Now it just says park. And that means everybody is allowed to play. And inside here, it shows real life pictures and things that have happened way back then. And it kind of looks similar to today's world, though we have grown for sure. You guys at your age, you think you're little, but you are going to make the biggest difference in our world of all. And I hope you read or liked that story. If you want to read with your mommies and daddies, ask them to get it on Amazon. It came in a couple days. These beautiful pictures. But I hope that helps you understand why people are protesting right now when you see the news with your mommies and daddies. And just know that you are so loved. And I hope you can celebrate your friends today and know that this world is a strange and beautiful place, and you shouldn't be scared. And I want you to stand with all friends of all shapes and sizes and only love each other. You guys are going to change the world. You guys are so little, and I know your mommies and daddies and people tell you what to do now, but when you grow up, you're going to be able to make this world such a better place by just being this generation and who you guys all are. So I love you all. I hope you celebrate freedom today, and I hope you really ask your mommies and daddies stories of the past and really take notice in the world around you. Like my dad used to always tell me, be aware of your surroundings, and that just means to really get children to start noticing things around them. And then I'm going to leave it off on what my mother always told me, and that was to treat others the way you would like to be treated. So please go out in the world and do those things and be your best and try to be a better person today. Love you guys. Until next time, always be patient with me. I'm trying my best to find the exact words to use in these confusing times for our little ones. And I hope you have a great day. I can't wait to see you all.